For some people, cold weather means turning up the thermostat, bundling up and staying inside. But when you have to work outside, you can have no choice but to brave the cold. And being continuously exposed to a cold environment without the right preparation or protection can lead to cold stress. This is when working in the cold turns dangerous, even deadly. When your internal temperature drops, your body can no longer function normally. In fact, thousands of workers suffer from cold-related conditions every year, which can lead to permanent tissue damage, amputations, even death. So it's important to know how to protect yourself from the effects of cold stress and what to do if you or a coworker is experiencing symptoms of a cold-related condition. In this program, we'll review what cold stress is, different types of cold-related conditions, and how to treat them, as well as safe work practices and engineering controls you can use to prevent cold stress. Working in wet or damp environments, not dressing warmly enough, having a pre-existing health condition such as hypertension, hypothyroidism, or diabetes, and not getting enough rest. A low wind chill temperature, the combined effect of low air temperature When most people think of the potential effects of cold weather on their health, they most likely think of the common cold or the flu. But when you are exposed to cold environments on a regular and prolonged basis, you can develop conditions that are much more serious. Many cold-related conditions can cause serious damage to your skin and joints, permanent scarring, skin cancer, even death. Some of the most common cold-related conditions include chilblains, trench foot, frostbite, and hypothermia. Chilblains occur when the skin's blood vessels start to swell, leaving behind itchy and painful patches of skin. Other symptoms include redness, blistering, and possible ulcers. Chilblains are caused by the combination of cold weather and poor circulation. This means that your extremities, your nose, hands, feet, and ears are most at risk. You can guard against chilblains by wearing warm clothing like gloves and thick socks, but make sure they aren't too tight. That will only restrict your blood flow and increase your chances of developing the condition. Women and people who are underweight are at an increased risk of developing chilblains, but anyone who is exposed to the cold for a prolonged period can experience it. Another cold-related condition that can affect your extremities is trench foot, a blackening and eventual death of the surface tissue. It often develops from working in an environment that is both cold and wet. In fact, you can get trench foot in temperatures as high as 60 degrees Fahrenheit if your feet are wet. This is because feet lose heat 25 times faster when they are wet than when they are dry. When your feet lose heat that quickly, their blood vessels start to weaken, which is what leads to damage to the surrounding tissue. The first signs of trench foot are tingling and itching, which turns into numbness. The feet can also turn bright red, but as trench foot progresses, they'll turn pale and clammy. As time goes on, you might also experience swelling, leg cramps, blistering, bleeding under the skin, and ultimately gangrene. The more you ignore the signs of cold stress, the more severe your symptoms can become. In fact, your skin and tissues can actually freeze. This condition is called frostbite. Frostbite occurs when you're working in freezing temperatures below 32 degrees Fahrenheit for a long period of time. While exposed skin is most vulnerable to frostbite, you can also develop frostbite on parts of your body that are covered by clothing or cold weather gear. Symptoms of frostbite include reddened skin that develops into white or gray patches, tingling, aching, numbness, and blisters. The symptoms you have can also depend on the severity of frostbite you're experiencing. There are 3 stages of frostbite, and you can progress through them rapidly. The first stage is called frost nip. At this point, your skin changes color and may feel cold, tingly, and slightly painful. When the water in the skin slowly freezes into ice crystals, you've reached the second stage. At this point, you may feel a pins and needles sensation, and your skin may sting or swell. The third stage of frostbite occurs when the lower layers of your skin freeze and total numbness sets in. The affected area may turn black, and you could even have trouble moving it. Left untreated, frostbite can cause permanent damage and even lead to amputation. So it's important to take action quickly if you feel that it's developing. Another severe cold-related condition is hypothermia. This life-threatening condition occurs when the body's core temperature drops to less than 95 degrees Fahrenheit. This can happen when you are exposed to a cold environment for so long that your body starts to lose heat faster than it can produce it. At this point, your low body temperature will begin to affect your brain. Hypothermia starts with uncontrollable shivering. As it progresses, you might also experience loss of coordination, confusion, slurred speech, a low heart rate, slow breathing, and eventually loss of consciousness. As with frostbite, it's important to take action as soon as you start to notice any signs of hypothermia. If your body temperature drops this low, you could lose your ability to understand what is happening to you or to even ask for help. Knowing how to monitor yourself and coworkers for signs of cold stress is only step one of staying safe in cold. Is hypothermia. When the body reaches an abnormally low temperature, it can begin to affect the brain. So the moment you notice that you or a coworker are uncontrollably shivering, seem confused, have slurred speech, or lose coordination, you need to call 911. The key to treating hypothermia is restoring warmth to the body. So the first thing you should do is to remove any wet clothing and replace it with something dry and warm. If possible, wrap the entire body in blankets or towels. Don't forget the head and neck. Another way to warm the body is by placing warm water bottles or hot packs in the armpits, on the sides of the chest, and in the groin. Drinking warm, sweetened drinks can also help increase the body's temperature. This can cause a rise in blood sugar levels, increasing the body's insulin, which in turn leads to more heat production. However, if the 911 operator gives you different warming instructions, you should follow their directions. In some cases, a person suffering from hypothermia might lose consciousness. so check their pulse frequently. And if you can't find one, perform CPR until medical professionals arrive. The best way to avoid cold stress is to stay out of cold environments. But working in cold conditions can sometimes be unavoidable, so you need to know how to keep yourself safe when you're in them. For starters, you need to dress properly. You should wear 3 layers of loose-fitting clothing. Layering provides insulation, and a loose fit allows for good blood circulation. The type of fabric you wear for each layer matters too. Cotton loses insulation when it becomes wet, while wool, silk, and synthetic materials retain it, so they should make up the first 2 layers. Your outer layer should also be made of a synthetic material, like nylon, which can protect you from rain and wind, while allowing for some ventilation to prevent you from overheating. You should also wear a hat or hood to keep your head warm. Up to 40% of your body heat can be lost when you leave your head exposed. To keep the rest of your body warm, you should wear a knit mask to protect your face and mouth, insulated gloves to keep your hands warm, and insulated waterproof boots to protect your feet. Be sure to keep an extra set of dry clothes, gloves, socks, and hats somewhere safe in case the ones you're wearing get wet. There are 3 other things you can do during your workday to protect yourself and coworkers from cold stress. First, drink warm, sweetened beverages throughout your shift. They will help keep your body temperature up and your hands warm. You should also take as many warm-up breaks as you need. Your employer will provide a warm area where you can recover from the cold. Lastly, use a buddy system so you and a coworker can monitor each other for signs of cold-related conditions. As for new workers, they should ease their way into working in a cold environment by gradually increasing the amount of time that they are in the cold. This acclimatization lets them build up a tolerance to the temperature that they're in. Even though you can't control the temperature outside, there are things that you and your employer can do to make your environment safer when you're working in the cold. These are called engineering controls. Radiant heaters, for instance, can warm outdoor workstations. They directly heat people and objects rather than air. They have limited reach, so they won't warm up an entire work area. However, they can be effective at warming individuals or single workstations. You can also shield work areas with screens or vehicles to block out wind. Wind chill can significantly increase the risk of developing cold stress, so limiting its impact on workers is crucial. Another way to protect yourself from cold-related conditions is by taking frequent warm-up breaks at warming stations. These can be mobile radiant heater stations that you and your employer set up, or a warm indoor location. Another thing that you have to pay attention to when you're working in the cold is metal tools or machinery. You should avoid making direct contact with them. Metal is a good conductor, which means it transfers heat energy quickly. So when your hand makes contact with a cold metal tool, it can suck the heat right out of your flesh. You have to beware of ice on tools and equipment too. Touching iced up metal can cause an ice burn. These burns can turn your hand red, white, or gray. It might sting similarly to a sunburn, and the skin will feel firm or waxy. Mild ice burns should be cleaned, soaked in warm water, and covered with a sterile bandage. However, more serious ice burns require medical attention. Wearing gloves can help you avoid these problems, but another solution is to wrap the handles of metal tools and machinery in insulating material so they don't get as cold. You can also use de-icers in these situations. When temperatures are low, the risk of developing cold-related illnesses is high. Without the right preparation and protection, you can suffer painful, even permanent injuries. So it's important to know how to prevent cold stress and what to do if you or a coworker show signs of a cold-related condition. Let's review. The human body's internal temperature should be about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. When the body struggles to maintain this temperature due to being in cold or wet conditions, it can develop cold stress. Common cold-related conditions include chilblains, trench foot, frostbite, and hypothermia. Remember to monitor yourself for symptoms of cold-related conditions throughout your workday. The sooner you are treated, the less likely that it will lead to permanent tissue damage. The first thing you should do if you are developing a cold-related condition is move to a warm environment. From there, treatment will depend on the type of condition you're treating. When you're in the cold, you should wear at least 3 layers of clothes, a hat, and insulated gloves and boots. When you're working in a cold environment, take frequent warm-up breaks, drink warm beverages, and use the buddy system to monitor yourself and coworkers for symptoms of cold-related illnesses. Using engineering controls like radiant heaters, wind protection, insulating material, and de-icers can reduce the chances of developing cold-related conditions. Now that you know the conditions that you can develop working in the cold, how to treat them, and ways to guard against them, you can keep yourself and your coworkers safe whenever you're working in cold environments.